I'm Becky Anderson for you in London, just yards away from London Bridge and Borough Market, where we saw those horrific attacks on Saturday evening. It is the afternoon in London now, and people on the move once again on their way home. Mostly, this is a city on the move. The terror attack, though, at London Bridge and Borough Market, the third here in the UK in as many months. Authorities now again grappling with the fight against extremism. One woman who is a part of that effort was a victim of London's 7/7 bombings back in 2005. Sajda Mughal was on a tube train that was blown up by one of the 4 7/7 attackers. She now works tirelessly to save young people from being drawn into extremism. And she joins me now. I just had Diane Abbott on, who as I suggested, defies the odds with her Labour Party and were to win the election on Thursday, wants to run the police and intelligence services here going forward. She says it's all about putting more police on the streets. That's what they've been calling for. Whether she can get her numbers right or not is beside the point, really. But you are involved at the grassroots level. Let's leave the politicians aside and talk to those who are working with communities. What can we do better?
Okay, so yes, you're right to say I'm involved at the grassroots, which I've been doing since I survived 7/7. For the last 7 years, I've been working specifically with my community, the Muslim community, to equip Muslim mothers to prevent radicalisation and online extremism via our Web Guardians programme. I have travelled the breadth of UK and I have heard their concerns. I've heard mothers say, we're concerned. I've also heard mothers say to me, we're unaware. So hence we've supported them, we've given them the education, and they've come back. Some have come back to say, we've stopped our young people joining extremist pathways. What needs to happen? This type of work. First and foremost, actually, from a broader perspective, that whole community approach, joined up approach, needs to be in place. We have to all fight this together. We've suffered 3 attacks in 3 months. It cannot go on.
So when you're talking about that joined up approach, you're talking about the community, you're talking about the police as well.
Correct.
You're talking about politicians locally.
Correct. All of us.
And you're talking
together.
about the youngsters. How big an issue is it for youngsters in the Muslim community getting radicalised these days? Just gives a really honest and basic answer to that.
I can't give you numbers, but it's an issue. I can say it's an issue, and why I can say that, because I also work with schools across London and the UK, and I can hear what these young Muslims particularly tell me.
And what are they telling you?
How they're feeling isolated, how they're feeling marginalised, how some sympathise with extremist narrative. So this is when I know there's a problem, there's an issue. Then I hear the same from mothers. They're concerned about their children and the online world. What can be done grassroots? I have to be really honest with you. Our Prime Minister came out with a great speech in terms of enough is enough. Correct, I can say that as a 7/7 survivor. Enough is enough. But what I would like to see is our government continue support with the grassroots. Our project, for example, has had to take a step back because of the red tape and bureaucracy in government. That can't exist. If we are to defeat terrorism...
How? Could you explain how red tape and bureaucracy has affected the implementation or effectiveness of what you are doing? Because I thought you were going to say money, funding.
You thought I was going to say that. It's the processes, the number of processes, the jumping through hoops, the talking, the toing and the throwing. Now, in that time of that happening, our project, for example, can't be delivered. A tried, tested a project that works, which means potentially we have young people who are being brainwashed by the internet. And I know the internet's playing a part because I researched it over a decade ago, and we know. In fact, we lobbied the government over a decade ago to say it's the internet. So what that means is if we're not having that grassroots approach also happening, we could potentially face young people being radicalised.
There are people who will say that because of political correctness, there is an issue for community service policemen and women who are struggling to have the sort of conversations that they ought to be having with the Muslim community. They say, you know, it's not politically correct for me to have this conversation, for example. Have you heard that, and do you worry about that?
I have heard that. Now, this is where this joined-up approach comes in, because if our police officers are feeling like that, it shouldn't just rest there. They should be able to talk to members of the community, to turn to them for support, to say, actually, we need this or we need your support. So we need that joined-up approach. But also, if there is a concern that someone says, I think something may happen, or I am worried about this person, then we need to see that concern through.
7/7 was what, 12 years ago now?
Exactly.
You get over these things, don't you? I mean, there are victims, there are people who are still in hospital all over London. Those who survive this, they will survive and go on, won't they?
Exactly, they will.
Thank you.